All right, everybody, we're now all set for the mask making portion of this Youth Theater Thursday. And remember, anything that you make, post it on our Facebook, post it to our Instagram, let everybody see it. I want to see all the amazing things that you make. I am really fortunate. I get to make a living by making things and getting to make things. And I think that's a wonderful thing to do, and I think it's a wonderful way to spend your time. And so I want to see all the wonderful things that you make. Also, to the parents that are out there, parents, big people watching this, hopefully you're watching this, you should be making things too. You know, right now we're sheltering in place, and our normal routines are all kind of messed up. And like I had said in the video earlier, a friend of mine that I went to the Del Arte school with, a guy named Newman, he said it's really important to be able to make things with your hands. And I absolutely agree with him. And it can be helpful during this time when everything's a little kooky and weird because we're sheltering in place and our schedules are all messed up. Take some time, make some stuff. It's a really good way to spend your time, and it's really therapeutic. So. All right, so we're going to be making masks today. Now, we've watched me make some masks I've built in clay on top of plaster heads, and I've talked about paper mache. Well, not everybody has that stuff. Not everybody has 20 pounds of clay in their basement. Not everybody has a plaster armature of their own head that they can build on that clay with. But something that everybody does have in their home is plastic containers. We all have plastic containers. There are many, many plastic containers that live in our homes. And today we are going to learn how to make a mask out of a plastic container. I'll show you what I made first. So I started with this plastic container that was for detergent. It was for our detergent. We happened to have an empty one, and I grabbed it and I said, okay, I'm going to make a mask for this video. And I looked at this part of it, and I was like, oh, because this would be the face. This was going to be the face for it. And I went, oh, I can do a one-eyed creature of some kind. And then in looking at it, I said, oh, wow, it kind of, if I do a one-eyed creature, it kind of looks like a minion, because I didn't want to paper mache over the handle here, all right? So I cut the handle off, and what I did was I cut this part off of the bottom, all right? And then I went ahead and I trimmed off, I cut off the handle. Scissors were kind of hard. I have at home what's called a Dremel tool, so I Dremeled it off, but you can cut it off with scissors. Kids, you're probably going to need your parents' help. It's a little difficult to cut these things. So then I cut the handle off, and then I started paper macheing over it. And right now you should be seeing some pictures of my process. I started paper macheing over it. I built up with the paper mache about 3 layers of paper mache. And if you notice, I covered over that big wide opening because that was going to be the eye of my minion. And then I went ahead and I let it dry. And then I painted it with just some white paint as its base coat. And then I painted over it in the yellow, and I attached straps on the side, and I put some hair, I took some cardboard and cut some hair up, and this was my minion mask, all right? And notice here's his hair on top, he's got straps on the side, I talked about character. Mask is about character. So in the Greeks used to call the masks that they wore persona, and the definition for persona nowadays is the part that we play, or the parts of our personality that we show and we allow others to see or others observe. Persona is also the role that an actor would play, the character actor would play. So I wanted to look for the persona. What was the character in this mask? And because the eye was all wide open, and then when I cut the handle off, it left me with this little tiny mouth, so he looked like this. So I gave him kind of a goofy parted in the middle hairstyle, and then I had my...
What?
And then I have my minion mask. Really easy to do, really easy to make. So I'm going to show you guys how to make your own mask out of a container. Now the first thing we need are our supplies. So You need to have some scissors, all right, because we're going to be using the scissors to cut. X-Acto knife, please use the X-Acto knife with your parents present, okay? I recommend having a Sharpie marker of some kind. If not, you can get a really good pen, or a pencil will work in a pinch as well. The other couple of things you need is you're going to want some glue, either some Elmer's glue, or I have this is the Gorilla Glue. These are to attach things after. Okay. You're also going to need paper, because we're going to be paper macheing these. The paper that I'm using right here, the paper that you see, is paper, it was packing paper from inside an Amazon box. You can also use just regular old white printing paper. You could use newspaper. Newspaper is perfect. You could use paper bags. All right. So this is just the Amazon packing paper. You can see I've got it in 2 different colors. Paper bag is usable too. If you do use paper bag, make sure that after you rip the paper bag up into strips, that you boil it in water for about 5 or 6 minutes. The reason why you're going to boil it in water is paper bag is very thick. When you boil it in water, it breaks up all of those fibers, all right, and it makes them easy to manipulate and easy to paper mache. Okay, you're going to want some glue of some kind. I have this big thing of paper mache paste. Right, not paper mache paste. Sorry, it is paper mache paste. I have this big thing of wallpaper paste because I like working with wallpaper paste. It's pre-mixed. I've left on our website, on our supplemental materials for this, there's a link to order from Amazon a gallon of just this liquid paper mache, or wallpaper paste. Yes, I don't have wallpaper in my house. All this stuff is just paper mache paste. If you don't want to order wallpaper paste, that's no problem. You can also make your own paste. You can make your own paste. If you look online, this is my iPad, if you look online, you can find all kinds of recipes out there for making wheat paste. So essentially, wheat paste is this, and I have the recipe on our supplemental materials. But wheat paste is essentially this. Mix 1 part flour with 1 part water, and mix up until you have a thick glue-like consistency. If it's a little bit too thick, you can add a little bit more water. If it gets a little too runny, you can add a little bit more flour to it. Mix it up really, really well with a spoon or a whisk. It's that metal thing that your parents have in the kitchen that's just all wire. Makes a little dome. Whisk it up. Make sure you whisk it up. And then you have wheat paste. If you don't use all your wheat paste up and you're going to save it to do more paper mache, cover over the jar that you have your wheat paste in and put it in the refrigerator, because it will get moldy. If you leave it out, it's flour. It will get moldy. Right? So you need paste of some kind. If you don't have flour in the house, but you get tons of glue, you can always just water down some regular old Elmer's glue or wood glue. That works also really well for paper mache. Paper mache is a great process. There's lots of things you can do it with. Here's my paper. You want to get your paper prepped. I know this sounds really silly, but you want to get your paper prepped. The first thing you want to do is, this paper has a sharp line right here where it was cut with a cutter, like scissors or probably some big knife of some kind. You want to just tear that little sharp line off. You don't want that. If you look, when you're tearing the paper, if you look really, really close, you can see that it's kind of feathery, like this. There's like little pieces of feathery pieces sticking off of it. That's the wood pulp, all right? That's the wood pulp. You want to have the wood pulpy part, okay? Because when you're paper macheing, it allows everything to overlap better. And then to tear it in strips, it's great. People don't realize, but paper has a grain to it, and you can just tear it like this. With the newspaper, it's the way you read the newspaper, right? The grain goes that way. Right? And you can tell, because when you tear it against the grain, it doesn't tear off as easy. When you tear it with the grain, you get these nice strips. Right? So you want to definitely have your strips for paper macheing. All right, so you get your paper. I said scissors, glue, Sharpies. All right, you need all that stuff. The next thing you need is a container. Now I have the classic milk jug right here. Here's the milk jug. You could also do what I did, which was this for the Minion. I made it out of the front of this detergent pod canister. So you can use one of those. We've also got this one, which is, what is this? It's our fabric softener. You're learning all about the things in my life. So fabric softener.
Boring!
We've also got this container right here. This was for salt. This was a salt container. That was empty in my garage and I thought it was usable. So you have your milk container or whatever container you're using. For this one, you're just going to, oops, water came out. So you're just going to use your jug. And you're going to use your jug not this way, all right, but you're going to use it this way. All right, there's your jug. Now right here you can see I drew on some eyes. You can see some eyes right here. All right, this is going to be, and if you look, this is sort of the eyes, this is kind of the nose. You could cut a little mouth down here. All right, with my salt container, I've already cut it. See, I've already cut the back of it. Boop, and I turn it this way. And you can even start to see the face. You can see where these are the eyebrows, right? And this is the longer piece of it, right? You can start to see where it takes shape. This particular container I looked at, this looks more like a person to me. You can see here, this is where the eyes would be, or the eyes would kind of be in here. This would be the eyebrow ridge right here. And then down here is where the mouth would probably be. I'd take all of this stuff off. Matter of fact, looking at these masks, so I talked about persona and I talked about character, and looking at these masks, the character doesn't immediately spring to mind for this one. For this one definitely looked human to me, and one of the reasons it looked human to me was down here. This little, I'm going to draw on here for a second. This little archy part looked like a mouth to me. So if we could see, drew a little mouth on there. It looked like a mouth to me, and then so the eyes would be, let's see, here we go. All right, and there's some eyebrows I drew in there. I could even just cut the eye holes out completely. All right, so this would be my eye holes completely. All right, so as you're looking at your container, decide what kind of character it is. This particular mask, or this particular container, because the eyebrows go in this way, it looks a little more aggressive. Remember, if you're looking at cartoons, eyebrows that go like this are people who are being, who are meaner, who are tougher. So in this particular mask, the eyebrows go in, it looks a little tougher, it's squinching at you. Eyebrows that go like this, or in like this, it's sadder or a little lower status, a little shyer. Just like with our Minion mask, his eyebrows were big and open. They were just big and round, so I feel like it looked like it was scared, and the mouth mimicked that. Think of character, think of character. Think of persona. For this particular mask, the persona of the mask looks a little more aggressive because the eyebrows here go in like that. And also, in looking at it, I decided that this particular mask looks a little bird-like to me because this shape right here mimics or mirrors what we think of as a bird's beak. All right, here's a version of a bird's beak. All right. And I will show you in just a little bit on how you can add some stuff to these if you decide you want to. But for now, pick your container. Pick your container. So this container, I just cut it about halfway through. I'm going to do that with this one. So I'm going to get my scissors, and notice you can even see the seam. This mask, this container is two pieces of plastic fused together. You can see the seam, so you can cut along the seam. And if you can see, it cuts really easily. Cut through here. That was a little tough of a bit, but we got through it. Cutting. Along the rest of it. Okay. being really careful where the plastic gets thicker. There we go. Ta-da! I'm going to throw the other piece away. Ta-da! There's the beginning of this particular mask. I'm going to draw my eyes out where I want them. Okay. I'm just going to make 2 ovals. Okay. Taking my scissors, being careful. Poke a little hole. If you can hear that, my dogs are playing upstairs because they are home right now. They're probably playing with the toy. So, did one eye, cutting the other eye out. Now with these masks, you don't need to put a mouth in them. I put a mouth on the Minion mask because I wanted to get rid of that, that handle, but you don't need to put a mouth on them. You'll be able to breathe in this. Don't worry, you'll be able to breathe. There we go. Alright, throw my eyes away. Ta-da! They're a little lopsided right now. They're a little lopsided, but that's okay. So, I have my plastic container now. Oh, another thing you want to keep around is a towel while you're working. You're going to get messy, especially paper macheing. It's going to become messy. If you can tell, I'm wearing an apron right now. I like having the apron because I can wipe my hands on it. It's also got pockets where I can put any tools that I might need in the pockets. So, paper mache. For your paper mache, you only need about 3 layers of paper mache over this, unlike one of my masks. So this mask right here, this mask has about 6 or 7 layers of paper mache on it that alternate paper bag, newspaper, paper bag, newspaper. They alternate. For this, you only need to do about 3 layers of paper mache. If you can alternate your layers, that's helpful. So if you can do a lighter color and then a darker color, that allows you to see where you haven't, spots you might have missed, and it allows you to put things over evenly. There's a nice video link that we are giving you with the supplemental materials about making one of these masks. In those, in that video, they talk about doing all your strips this way and then all your strips this way. That doesn't matter. I've been paper macheing for decades. You don't have to be that strict about it. It's okay if things overlap unevenly. What you would like to do, though, is make sure that you have alternating colors. So that might become helpful. So, the next thing, I'm not going to take the paper mache off of this. All right, I'm not taking the paper mache off, so I don't need to put a release agent like Vaseline or any kind of oil. So, I'm going to just start paper macheing. Notice, I just scooped up a whole bunch of paper mache paste in my hand, and I am now wiping it on the paper. And notice I'm getting it really, my hands are getting goopy. You're gonna get messy. If you are somebody who hates to get messy, do it anyway. It's good for you. Once I get all the paper on, or the paper paste on, I then just set it over and I smooth it out. So I set it on there. I'll choose a darker color, just for the heck of it, so it'll read a little bit better. So notice I'm tearing my strips. Okay, gonna rip some off. Gonna get some paste on here. Get it all nice and messy. And boop, boop, boop. And then I smooth it out. And boom. Here, I paper mache pretty fast. I've been doing this for a long time. Before I started making my masks out of neoprene, which is a liquid latex that I pour into a mold, I did a lot of paper macheing. And I got really good at paper macheing quickly. Again, I lay it on there. I rub it in. Good. Now, I'm using big long strips right here because I'm good at using the big long strips. If you're having trouble with the big long strips, just take off a tiny part. Just get your tiny part on there. And if you can even, if you have to, if it's too big, you can rip it. Make sure you get the paste on it. All right, boop, boop, boop. what I'm doing right now is this piece kind of got stuck to itself and overlapped. I want to smooth it out. All right, get it on there. Put that piece on there. Now I'm getting to the handle part, which would be the nose part. See right here? I'm going to paper mache over that, okay? I'm going to paper mache over that. So I'm going to paper mache over it so that I'm blocking off the handle, right? So that it becomes like a whole rigid nose piece, right? I'm not going around the handle. I'm coming right down in front of the handle. See, like this, all right? And I'm making sure I get the paper mache in the eye. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. I'll show you. I'll do the other side. Notice I'm not afraid to get messy. I'm getting my hands all yucky. You might want to use short sleeve shirts so you don't have to pull your sleeve up with your teeth like I just did. See how I'm just paper macheing over that? Paper macheing over that. My dog barking upstairs. Good girls. All right. And then eventually you would just go through and paper mache the whole thing. Paper mache, do a layer. You don't have to wait for the layers to dry. You don't have to wait for the layers to dry. You can start in on your second layer as soon as your first layer is done. That's okay. You don't want that bit there. Okay. Notice how I'm working fast. I'm not being too persnickety about it. Okay. I'm getting the glue on there. Getting the glue on the top. Okay. Actually, I will paper mache the whole thing, and through the magic of video, we're gonna fast forward. Fast forward! That was a cue to Murphy to stop the fast forward. I haven't gotten completely all the way through it, but I've gotten a lot of the way through it. If you notice, I'm smoothing down some of these pieces. Notice the paper mache over the handle to make the face. Eventually I had paper mache over the little spout part. And for the eyes, I just got the edges of the paper over it and I pushed them inside and then glued them towards the back. If you can see here, I've got paper mache overlapping the side so that the side isn't very sharp or anything. They're not very sharp, but paper mache over the side is nice and easy as well. And you don't have to wait for your first layer to dry, okay? You could do all three layers at once. The next layer of paper that I would put on is this lighter paper. I'll put the lighter paper over that, and then the darker paper. You may have another paper that you'd like to put over that for your final layer. That's fine as well. We'll talk about painting in a second, but just so that you can think ahead. If you decide that you don't have enough paints in your house, you could always do your final layer in white paper, copy paper, something like that. Do your final layer in white, and then you could, with crayons, draw all over it, all right? And crayon your decorations or marker your decorations. This particular process, the pictures that I showed you for the minion, is I did him all in brown paper, and then I painted over him in white, and then I painted over him in the colors that I wanted. All right. Now, one thing you might notice is the minion has this goofy hair on top. Because he was so scared, I wanted to give him a nerdy haircut, and I thought that would be fun. You can use cardboard, okay, some cardboard right here, or you could use pieces of manila folder as well to make for yourself other things to put on your mask. You could also take paper, dunk it in the paper mache, all right, ball it up, And you could, like, if I wanted to add, let's say, nostrils on the side of this, I would just go through. I get my paper all gluey. All right, so the paper's getting all gluey, gluey. All right, and then I'll take the paper, and it's not, kind of a small ball. I might have to add more, but I would add the small batch of paper mache to there, and then add a little bit more, and then I would just put a clean layer of paper mache over that for nostrils. Okay. I talked about earlier. Let's get the paper out of the way for a second. Put it over here. Now earlier, I said that I saw this face as being kind of like a bird because the eyes go in like this. Right? And I made this beak to go on it. Made the beak to go on it that way. These are easy to make, all right? And if you notice, it is a three-dimensional beak. So the way you would do that is you would take a manila envelope, or you could take a piece of cardboard, all right? Fold it in half. Now on this particular beak, this top half is still attached, and this is where it got cut. That's where folding it really comes in handy. So I would fold, and I'm just going to draw. We're going to make it three-dimensional, but I'm just going to draw on one side of the cardboard. All right, so there we go. You can hear all those noises. The girls are having fun with a toy upstairs. All right. We have big dogs too. That's why they're so loud. So here is my beak. Now notice it's not on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my beak. Okay. I'm not going to cut the folded part. I'm just going to cut the parts that I drew. Go. Because you want that folded part, that's going to provide you with a little bit of structure. Right. So now, I've cut my beak apart, and I have this right here. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to get my masking tape. Sorry, I should have said you should have the masking tape around. And I'm going to shape the beak so that it's got a little bit, see I'm bending the cardboard, because the cardboard is made up of a series of hollow channels. So there's like a line of cardboard and then a hollow channel and a line of cardboard. That's what makes cardboard boxes sturdy but light, right? I'm using that channel to my advantage because I'm just bending it right along there. Notice, see it's curving already. And then I'm going to get my masking tape. And starting at the bottom, I'm going to tape see I've taped it together down there at the bottom. Okay. And I'm going to just keep being careful with my tape. I'm going to tape it in place. And then I have my beak. Now, because I have my beak, I'm going to use the tape, and I'm going to tape the beak onto where I think it should be on the jug. All right. Now I have the beak on the jug, and these little bits I'll eventually tape onto the sides here. Now, you can not only paper mache onto the container, but you can paper mache over the beak as well. So we do the same thing that we did with this one, except I'm going to paper mache the beak directly to the jug. All right? And that's how I would get it to attach. Here, let me grab a piece of paper. Show you. So, paper like so, glue like so. I'm going to rip a smaller strip, and I'm starting to paper mache over the tape that's attaching the beak. Okay, because the tape is keeping the beak attached to the container or the mask. All right, and now I'm just paper macheing it onto there, and I can then paper mache over the cardboard. And eventually, the extra shape that I put on there, I'll paper mache all over it into one thing. And then I've got a bird mask. Yay. I know I haven't cut the eyes out of this yet. You want to cut the eyes out first? Or, you know what, you can just go ahead and paper mache over the whole thing and then cut the eyes out after if you want. That's fine too. It's always better to do it ahead, but you can do that after as well. So there's my beak. So you can add extra things to this particular mask. Okay, to this particular face, like I did with Mr. Minion. So, to review for your container mask, all right, you want to find a container of some kind that you can use as a face. This one was a milk jug. My Minion one was this particular can of Tide Pods. All right, you're going to cut the mask or cut the container in half so that it has like a mask shape. All right, and then you will decide where your eyes are going to be. Cut your eyes out, and then you can go ahead and paper mache. Paper mache, you're going to want some kind of a paper, newspaper. The brown packing paper that's in an Amazon container is fantastic, and if you get Amazon boxes these last couple of weeks, you're going to have a lot of that around. You can order wallpaper paste. You might have wallpaper paste in your own home. You can get wallpaper paste on Amazon. If you want, you can make wheat paste with flour and water. You can even water down some regular old Elmer's glue for your particular paper mache paste. You're going to rip your paper into strips, okay? And then you're going to get all that glue all over the paper mache, all over the paper, and then you're going to put it onto your container. Actually, I should have said one thing first. What kind of character are you going to make? What kind of mask are you going to make? The video that we have linked shows them making a lion out of this particular face, out of this particular kind of a mask. And they do that by bunching up extra pieces of paper on there. You could decide you're just going to make a simple old person. Decide what kind of character. Is that person mean with eyes that go in like this? Are they nice with eyes that open up? Do you just want to do some kind of big old colorful face? That's fine too. If you want to copy one of your favorite cartoon characters, you could do that as well. Please, as you do this, do it in an area that you can make a mess in. We're here in my studio. I'm completely fine with making a mess here in my studio. I have a trash can right under the counter that I put stuff in. So yeah, these are making masks with containers. It's an easy, fun process, and one that will kill a couple of hours. It'll get you messy to boot, but most importantly, it's you making something from your imagination and bringing it into the world and then sharing it with us here at the Fort Wayne Youth Theater. All right? If you have any questions about mask making, if you have any questions about these kind of making these kind of masks, please feel free to email us. Whatever you make at home, share it with us on Facebook, share it with us on the Instagram. We would love to see all of that. So, have fun mask making.